congratulations on the album. I've had a chance to take a listen to it, and it's an amazing album, so congratulations.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks. I'm glad you like it.
Now, I read that as a band you wanted to challenge yourself with this album. Tell us a little bit about your frame of mind going into this album, and why is it so important to challenge yourself with an album?
Good question. I think it's always important if you put out new music, it should have a new exciting feel to it. I don't think it makes sense to just recycle what you have done before.
Yep.
In my opinion, it's important to always find new ways of expressing yourself and bringing back the intensity that the band is known for without repeating stuff that you've done in the past. So it's always like a mix between the passion and the excitement for new songs that are working and that are really, really fun to play, and new things that we haven't tried yet.
So how do you go about doing that? How do you make sure that energy is there, and how do you go about trying things that you haven't done before?
Being very self-critical. I always write music. I always try to find riffs that are maybe signature Kreator riffs and signature Kreator songs even. But that's something that we haven't done before, and so I think that's the way to go. The mindset is always like, you can feel it. I mean, I always record demos. I always record stuff, and I listen to it, and I try to get into it as a fan of the music, and I try to put myself, being the singer of the band, out of the picture. So that's the kind of like mindset that I get into, and the zone that I get into when I write the songs.
So what is your writing process like? Do you normally work on the lyrics first? Do you work on the music first? How does that all come together for you?
Depending on the song. Sometimes the lyrics come first. Sometimes I have a riff. Sometimes I have just a couple combination of words that I think could be make a good chorus. That way, it always depends, really. There's no formula. There's not really like, okay, this is how I write a song. It's more like in a sense of like getting in there and getting into the zone and just trying out things, really.
Yeah. So what kind of things were inspiring you with this album? Was there any topics or anything that were on your mind when you sat down to work, especially on the lyrics for this album?
Basically, I write the lyrics very intuitive, more like I get into this kind of almost like into a stream of consciousness where I just write down stuff. Getting into, of course, if you look at the state of the world at this point, you would think that there's a lot of inspiration only by turning on the TV or turning on the internet and seeing all these news coming in, pandemic, war, terror, all that. But I always try to focus on certain things. For example, on this new record, which talks about the way we communicate. Hate Wireless is a statement against like hate speech and the way that we kind of like treat each other. There always has to be a theme. Also, for example, the song Midnight Sun is inspired by the movie Midsummer, and I kind of like, I didn't write about the movie, but I got inspired by the way cults work, and religion works, and religious fanatism work. So there has to be something. There has to be something that kind of make my creative juices flow, and that can be anything from a conversation to a movie to a book to a something that I hear, something that I see. It's inspiration just comes from various different sources, really.
Yeah, Midsummer was a film that I loved as well, and like you, cults have been something that I've been fascinated about, because I grew up in an area which was famous for the cult that actually Julian Assange's mother was part of for a while. Did you go away and do much research into cults before you sat down to work on that track?
Oh, I've been interested in that in this topic a long time. I've seen many movies. I've read a lot of books about cults, and I kind of know. I was interested more in the total devotion and the total losing of your own self, and you're losing control and becoming a part of something that somebody has set up for you, and losing yourself in this. I made, like I said, basically the Ariasa movie was a huge inspiration, but also like a movie like The Wicker Man, or various other ones that talk about the topic.
Now, you actually wrote most of this album before the pandemic, I believe. Is that correct?
Kind of. I mean, we had demos for 10 songs before the pandemic. I mean, the pandemic hit in March 2020, and I had like 8, 10 songs. We were planning on going onto the studio in the end of 2020 and release the album in 21, because nobody knew how long the pandemic would last. Then when we booked the studio in the end of 2020, the second lockdown came. We were like, you know what, fuck this. We're not going to release an album, not go on tour. So we delayed the album. We were moving the schedule to October 21 in order to release the album on the 10th of June. So we didn't want to. We wanted to reconnect with the fans. We wanted to connect with the fans right away, and be able to perform the songs live before we go, before we go in, we could release an album, and we can't go out and play it.
So did that actually give you longer to work on the album itself as well?
Yeah, I mean, of course, everybody had time on their hands, right? It's, especially artists and musicians who were kind of put on hold. So, yeah, we had some extra time. And in that extra time, I actually found the title for the title track, and which the song was there for a while, and it had like different choruses and different versions. I had different versions of the song, and I found the title track in the break between 2020 to 21, when we got back together as a band and recorded the album in October, I think, 21.
Awesome. So this was also the first album that Frederick got to work on with you as well. What was that like, working with him on the album? Because I believe that he brought a fair bit to the table as well.
Absolutely. He came in with a very fresh and open mind, and he's a huge fan of extreme metal, which really helped. I'd say that that he helped me with the arrangements. He helped me with keeping a positive mindset in the band chemistry, and it was good to work with him. He was a huge help in the studio.
You also co-wrote Dying Planet with him as well. Was that something, one of the reasons why you brought him into the band, because you knew he was someone that you'd be able to write with and also help with the arrangements as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's like like I said, he's a huge fan of extreme metal, and he's a very creative person. He's a great guitar player, and he helped me to arrange a lot of the harmonic stuff. And he evilized a lot of my riffs, and having somebody like Fred in the band, he also worked. He produced the demos that we did as a band, and so it was definitely a huge help for me as a songwriter, and he's also a team player. So he's definitely, it was good to have him.
Definitely. And you also brought Sophia in as well to work on Midnight Sun. That's the first time that you've worked with a female vocalist on one of the tracks. What led to that decision, and what was it like bringing Sophia in to work with the band?
Basically, we had this, like I said, I had this song about the Midnight Sun, and seeing that movie, the protagonist is a very strong female character, and I envisioned it coming into the song, having a female voice answering my voice. I would try to avoid getting like an operatic kind of like singer that we would expect from a metal band. I would try to avoid like a Nightwish style like opera singer, and I'm going like, what? The girl's going like, whoa! I didn't want that. I think Sophia's contribution to this song is very spooky almost, and it fits the song. It feels like she's a part of the band.
Definitely. Now, you recorded in Hansa Studios as well. Tell us a little bit about what it was like recording in such a famous studio.
It was amazing. I mean, you could feel the vibe, of course. It's all very historical. They make like almost like they make like tourist tours through the studio, because it's all there. It's all like it was when people like David Bowie, Brian Eno, and other greats have recorded there. So it's still there, and it's still in the it still breeds that kind of atmosphere. So to celebrate this music and to be really into to bring the songs to life, it really helped to work in such an historical place, because we all focus differently, and the equipment that we worked on is vintage equipment. And Arthur, our producer, he was really going off on that. He really loved working with like effects that were really very effective, like very cool and very helpful for the sound, the overall sound of the record.
That was actually going to be my next question. Working with Arthur, what was it like working with Arthur, and what do you feel he brought to the sound of the album as well?
He brought, first and foremost, like the vibe and the enthusiasm into the music, because he's a huge metalhead, and he's a fan of the band, and also he's also a fan of extreme metal. So we had a great time talking about what we like. Before we went into the sessions, we would listen to songs that we like, and we would listen to songs that we don't like, in order to make sure to find our own unique sound for that record. And having in the studio he has a very loose way of working. Not that he's sloppy, but he's very like, it's when you enter the studio, it's almost like a huge celebration of the music, rather than work where you get out there and you have a headache because you recorded like 8 hours. We would work in shifts, right? Sami would come in and he would play some parts, and I would come in for 2 to 4 hours and play some parts, and maybe do some vocals, and then we would go back and forth, and that was amazing. That was a very cool way of working.
Definitely. Now, like I said before, I've taken a listen to the album and I absolutely loved it, but for most of your fans out there, they don't get to hear the album until Friday. Do you still get nervous when you are releasing a new album to see how your fans are going to receive it?
Yes, because I think it's very important to get the feedback from the fans, because we are, as a band, we are also fans of metal, and we want to be we want to come out with stuff that's still exciting. And of course, a reason of 15th album now, it's hard to keep that. It's hard to keep an exciting energy up there. And the more songs you write, the more songs you've already written, and you don't want to repeat yourself. You want to keep it fresh. And of course, I'm really excited about how the fans will like the album. I'm looking forward to Friday, man. It's going to be interesting.
Definitely. Now, those fans are probably also wondering, now that the world is opening back up again, what are the plans for the band for the rest of this year now?
Oh, absolutely. Going to festivals. We did our first festival. We did 2 festivals this year already. We played the Inferno, we played the Metal Fest in Czech Republic. And so that's the plan. We're playing live as much as we can and go all over the world, and hopefully come to Australia at the beginning of next year.
Awesome. Well, I know we are running out of time very quickly, so to wrap up, what would you like to say to all of your Australian fans before they go out and grab the album? And you just mentioned about touring here. Are you looking forward to that opportunity to tour in Australia once again?
Yes, like I said, there's loose plans on coming to Australia in the beginning of next year, and yeah, go get the album and see what you let me know what you think. I mean, like I said, we put our hearts and souls into this. We put the essence of Kreator into this record, and I'm very excited of how the fans like it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking